All right, so today I'm going to talk about something I probably should have done a while back, but better late than never, the day before my book comes out, and talk about what my book, The Phoenix and the Ant, is actually about. And I meant to have a copy that I could hold up here, but I left it in my classroom, and because some students were reading it, and so I don't have a copy to put. So you get my bookshelf with just a bunch of other random books in there. So The Phoenix and the Ant, to me, it is meant to be a fantasy adventure novel. Funnily enough, I originally started writing it with the idea that it'd be for like middle grade, like grades 4 to 6, and it eventually evolved into more young adult focused. Um, but in my opinion, it isn't really a young adult novel. It's just written for a younger crowd in mind. Um, However, everyone who's read it so far has generally been not a young adult and has been a full on adult, and I've enjoyed it quite a bit. But what is it about? The Phoenix and the Ant is about a young girl who grows up in a fairly patriarchal society, and her father is a general, and she's meant to be a diplomat and an important person and follow all the rules and kind of grow up and be an important part of her society, but she hates it. She hates her society. She hates living there. She wishes she lived somewhere else. She doesn't like following any of the rules. And the kind of pivotal moment of the story is kind of finding out that she's accidentally going to end up breaking one of the biggest rules the whole society has, and she's forced kind of out of the kingdom before she was exiled or imprisoned for life, which leads her onto a journey across the land of Tanzania, searching for somewhere where she feels like she belongs. And I don't want to go too much more into the kind of story elements because obviously that's the point of reading the story. But kind of what it's about is her adventure trying to find a home, find somewhere to live, and feel better about who she is because she questions that. She questions where she belongs and what that means. So it's kind of about that as well, right? That search for home, search for meaning, which I think many young people and even many people, my age and older, kind of feel that is this where I belong? Is this what I should be doing with my life? She meets a lot of fun characters. One of the other main characters, I suppose, of the book, who has a few chapters from his own perspective, Slayer, whose original name is Sea Lion of the Air. I'm a very cocky young man, a little bit older than the main character T, and he's just trying to find a way to finally kind of impress his dad and impress people, and learning just kind of how not to be that person that nobody really wants to be around, that guy who just knows he's better than everyone else. And that's kind of his journey throughout the story. The story takes place across kind of the eastern lands of Tanzania. It's a kind of what I like to call a shattered continent, the continent that was once similar to Earth's Pangea, though through magical means was kind of separated, which led to a bunch of distinct cultures growing and curses all over the place that forced some cultures to be way different than other cultures. And kind of the challenges of what it would be like to live in a world like that with magic and curses that make other people impossible to talk to, and pirates who roam the oceans, and ancient beasts that are considerably more powerful than any people are, that have kind of controlled the way things have gone for so long. And a large part of the kind of background story that's going on as T adventures through the oceans is this world and all the rules and laws that have been put to place to kind of keep the people of Tanzania and all these kingdoms relatively peaceful, though there's been lots of wars, but there hasn't been everyone at war yet. Is kind of falling apart. All these little things that everyone just agreed that, yes, this is what we do, this is how we do it, are falling apart in the background as T, our main character, and Slayer are going to a place that's meant to be safe and meant to be a new home, at least for a while. And of course, there's tons of magic, and there's tons of like cool beasts, and the bad guys are a lot of fun in the story. There are people that are actively, trying to ruin things for other people. I don't want to get into the details, obviously. And it's a ton of fun. And that was my main purpose of the story, is just to make it a lot of fun to read. and something that you really want to just jump into the world and maybe make it a place despite all the bad stuff going on, that you could like envision yourself being in and envision yourself being a part of it. Maybe you're part of this kingdom or this kingdom or this kingdom. And I tried to sprinkle people from all the kingdoms into the story, so you get a little taste of their cultures and how they do things, because that's what people want, right? Is just a little bit of that culture and this place you can dive into. I have so many inspirations for this book, just my own inspirations, playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends, reading Tolkien and Ursula Le Guin's stories, even just things like Avatar: The Last Airbender, which you'll see some pretty direct influences from, and just stories and media and music. I'm a big musician, as well. I have the one video up of me playing a song. I'm a big musician, so there's lots of poetry and songs, and written down, obviously not played, songs in the story as well, just to kind of give a little bit more of that world building and flavor to what it's like living in this continent, this land of Tanzia. And it's awesome. It's an awesome adventure, and just so you know, the sequel is on its way. Eventually, probably it's done, written, the rough draft, the original draft. Anyone who's written the book knows that the rough draft being done means that we're still a ways away, not that close. About a year or so, probably, while I edit it and clean it up and add a bunch of little elements. So for those that really like the first book, I promise you the second book will be, in my opinion, it's already, I don't want to say it's much better, but it's better. I'm really liking the second book a lot. It expands on all of those themes as well. So for those of you that want your books to be in a series, trust me, it's coming. I plan at least 4 books in this series, potentially more. The third book is also partially plotted out and put together and started. I've actually written chunks of it already, just because I was writing it as I was writing book 1 and 2. It's from a different character's totally perspective. And the fourth book, haven't started that, so we'll see where that one comes. But I've got ideas in the brain, so I guess you're always kind of starting these books. So that's what The Phoenix and the Ant is about. Maybe I'll put a little picture in the corner here somewhere at some point so that you can see the cover while I'm talking. Yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, please comment. Let me know what you think, and any questions about specific details, because I didn't want to give too much information away, because to me, I mean, I've never been one to be worried about getting spoilers, but it is nice to start something with a fresh mind, but kind of still know what you're going to get into. And if I were to say anything about The Phoenix and the Ant and what it is, it's an adventure. It's an adventure in a world that you can dive into and attach to some of the characters and hate some of the other characters, and maybe not like some characters at first and get to like them, and maybe flip your opinions on other characters later on. That's what it is. It's a pivotal adventure about someone who's trying to grow as a person. It's inspired by what I like to call the greats. It's inspired by modern tendencies. It's inspired by music and poetry and my love of various philosophies, while still being a relatively simple read that just wants to pull you right in. That's what it is.